In the shadowy world of true crime, few stories are as disturbing and complex as that of Jack Unterweger, a man who wore the mask of a literary star while harboring dark secrets. His tale of supposed redemption turned to horror serves as a chilling reminder that the line between genius and madness can sometimes be dangerously thin. Today, we unravel the life of the Austrian Ripper, a man whose charm and intellect hid a dangerous side, and whose story continues to haunt Austria and beyond. Jack Unterweger was born on August 16, 1950, in the small town of Judenburg, Austria. His early years were anything but idyllic. Jack's mother, a Viennese barmaid with a history of petty crimes, was often in and out of jail. Abandoned by his father, a World War II soldier from the United States, Jack was left in the care of his strict grandfather in the poverty-stricken Austrian countryside. His upbringing was harsh and unloving, filled with neglect and emotional trauma. From an early age, Jack's life seemed destined for a dark path, marked by a cycle of poverty and crime. Young Jack's formative years were a grim prelude to the life that awaited him. He turned to petty crime as an escape from his turbulent home life, a path that quickly escalated to more serious offenses. By his teens, Jack had a criminal record that included theft, assault, and inappropriate behavior towards women. His early experiences fostered a deep-seated resentment towards women, a troubling aspect of his personality that would later manifest in harmful ways. This resentment, coupled with his tumultuous upbringing, laid the foundation for a life of crime that would shock the world. In 1974, Jack Unterweger's simmering anger boiled over into violence. His first known victim was an 18-year-old German girl named Margaret Schaefer, whom he tragically strangled. The sheer brutality of the crime shocked the nation. Unterweger was swiftly apprehended and sentenced to life in prison for his heinous act. It seemed his violent streak had finally been curtailed. Yet, in the darkness of his cell, Jack's story was far from over. Instead of breaking him, prison became the stage for his transformation from criminal to celebrated writer. During his incarceration, Unterweger discovered a talent for writing. His works, which included poetry, plays, and an autobiographical novel, garnered critical acclaim. He wrote passionately about his troubled past and the harsh conditions of prison life, capturing the attention of intellectuals and artists who saw him as a symbol of redemption and reform. His autobiography, Purgatory, was particularly influential, convincing many that he had turned over a new leaf. This growing support culminated in a campaign for his release, a campaign that succeeded against all odds. Remarkably, in 1990, after serving just 15 years of his life sentence, Jack Unterweger was released from prison, hailed as a reformed man and a testament to the power of rehabilitation. His release was celebrated by many, and he quickly became a media darling, lauded for his literary achievements and apparent transformation. However, beneath the veneer of the reformed writer lay the same dark impulses that had driven him to crime. Freed from prison, Unterweger resumed his troubling behavior, this time with an even more chilling precision and calculation. Upon his release, Unterweger quickly integrated into Austrian society, leveraging his newfound fame to secure work as a journalist and author. He began traveling extensively, purportedly to research crime and justice issues. But behind this respectable facade, Unterweger embarked on a new spree of violence. Between 1990 and 1992, he was responsible for the deaths of at least 11 women in Austria, Czechoslovakia, and the United States, using his trademark method of strangulation. His victims were mostly sex workers, women whom society often overlooked and whose disappearances went unnoticed for too long. Unterweger's new crimes were marked by a chilling consistency and brutality. He lured his victims under the pretense of interviewing them for his journalistic work, then attacked with ruthless efficiency. The method of using a bra for strangulation became a sinister tool of death in his hands. His ability to maintain the dual roles of respected writer and cold-blooded criminal left the police and the public bewildered. How could a man who seemed to embody redemption commit such atrocities? The breakthrough in the case came when investigators noticed striking similarities between the murders in different countries. The same modus operandi pointed to a single perpetrator. Unterweger, once the symbol of a rehabilitated man, became the prime suspect. His capture was as dramatic as his life had been. Fleeing to the United States, he was apprehended in Miami in 1992 after an international manhunt. His arrest sent shockwaves through the community, shattering the illusion of the redeemed writer and revealing the dark reality beneath. Jack Unterweger's trial was a spectacle of media attention and public fascination. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Testimonies from witnesses, forensic evidence linking him to the crime scenes, and his own twisted writings painted a damning picture. Throughout the trial, Unterweger maintained his innocence with a chilling calm, even as the weight of his crimes became undeniable. The jury found him guilty of 9 murders, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, marking the end of a reign of terror that had spanned continents. During the trial, the courtroom was packed with spectators and journalists eager to witness the unfolding drama. The media's portrayal of Unterweger as a literary genius who had fallen from grace only added to the public's fascination with the case. The details of his crimes were revealed in court, painting a picture of a man whose charm and intelligence masked a deep-seated malevolence. The trial exposed the duality of his nature: the respected writer who advocated for prison reform and the cold-hearted criminal who preyed on vulnerable women. In prison, Unterweger continued to maintain his innocence, insisting that he was the victim of a miscarriage of justice. He wrote letters to supporters and continued to express his views on crime and punishment, but the evidence against him was irrefutable. The horror of his actions and the pain he inflicted on his victims and their families overshadowed any claims of innocence or redemption. The man who had once been celebrated as a reformed criminal was now exposed as a remorseless predator. On June 29, 1994, just hours after his final conviction, Jack Unterweger took his own life in his prison cell, hanging himself with a rope made from the very same bra strap he had used to harm his victims. His death was a grim end to a life marked by deceit, manipulation, and unspeakable violence. The legacy of Jack Unterweger is one of horror and betrayal. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lie beneath the surface, a darkness capable of hiding in plain sight and striking when least expected. The aftermath of Unterweger's crimes left a lasting impact on the communities he terrorized. His victims' families were left to grapple with their loss and the brutal reality of his actions. The case prompted a re-evaluation of the parole system in Austria, leading to stricter regulations and a greater emphasis on the psychological assessment of prisoners seeking early release. Unterweger's story is a cautionary tale of how appearances can be deceiving and the importance of thorough scrutiny in the criminal justice system. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the life of the Austrian Ripper. If you found this story as haunting as we did, please subscribe for more true crime tales. Let us know in the comments who you'd like us to cover next, and remember, always stay vigilant and stay safe.